I'm your host, Eric Crow Draven. It's official. Welcome to the Cipher. Welcome. I've been expecting you. I have. To whom it may concern, they say life is about choices. When you want better, you put yourself in a position to do better. You see, I come from a place where those who look like me don't often make it past their 18th birthday alive or without a jail record. Maybe I shouldn't be writing this, but music, the streets, and sports, we look as a way out of our poverty. Dysfunctional families, failing public education system with uninspired teachers and invisible role models. Experience builds character. It is the windows to my past that reminds me of who I was and where I'm from compared to who I am, what I've accomplished.
Let's take it to the streets. Take it to the streets.
So my first question to you is, what is poetry?
Wow, it's an expression of life, love, through words. For me, it's communication. That's how I communicate with the world. I'm able to get everything I need to get out, and it helps me communicate in the everyday world also.
Okay. Do you have a favorite style of poetry?
No, because I don't really consider myself I don't even know the words to quote it, but my style is kind of based around music and influence and Brooklyn and, hip hop and
Brooklyn
struggles and, just life. So when I speak from a place of how I'm feeling. I don't really sit and, write in cadence and it has to be this, and I don't write that kind of poetry. I write how I'm feeling, and then I figure out how to melodically deliver it so that you get what I'm saying. So I don't really know what kind of poet I am. I mean, some people call me a spoken word artist, some people say lyricist, whatever. I'm a creative force.
There you go.
I feel like I have creative license to do whatever. So however it comes out, whatever you feel like it is, if it's,
then
makes you feel good, that's what it is to you. That's fine.
Okay. Have you heard any myths about poetry? Because I've heard a lot of things.
I did. When I first started writing poetry, because songwriting is my passion, and I'm a songwriter. So when I first started writing poetry, I read this book, and the book said that you can't write songs the way you write poetry, and it's so not true. Every song I've ever written started from a poem.
Okay.
There's things you have to do to manipulate it for music, but that reading that in a book really scared the hell out of me initially. Okay. I was like, maybe I'm doing something wrong here, so. But God is good, and it worked out, and here I am 6 years later.
Okay. So I'm gonna say a few words, and you say the first thing that comes to mind.
Okay.
Okay. Sex.
Love.
Youth.
Me.
Poverty.
Reality.
Tomorrow.
Today.
Money.
Material.
Last but not least, you.
Youth.
You.
Me?
Yes.
Me? I'm everything. I'm everything to me. That's it.
That's it.
That's it?
Thank you, sister.
Thank you.
Welcome. All right, y'all. Welcome to the Cipher.
I sold my ass for some rent money. Daddy, aren't you proud of me? I said I sold my ass for some rent money. Mommy, aren't you proud of me? You see, outside felt mighty cold. I had no place else to go. You asked why didn't I just come home, but y'all already left me alone, so I sold my ass for some rent money. Daddy, aren't you proud of me? Now, don't get me wrong. I didn't end up on the pole and I'm not strutting down the stroll. This man, he thinks I think that he loves me. He thinks I think we're meant to be. Shit. He thinks he loves me. And together we will always be. But he's wrong. Mommy, I don't love him. He doesn't love me either. From day one it was lust. Always wanted to sex. Simply wants my flesh, but knows he can't get it without what's attached to the rest. So we role play. I'm his woman and he's my man, although I cringe at the touch of his hand. We lay down like lovers met and I think happy thoughts just to get wet. But when we get up, he writes that check to the light, the gas, my cell, my clothes, my food. Oh, and the rent. So I let my body pay the toll. My heart don't care since I've sold my soul for the rent money. Mommy, Daddy, aren't you proud of me? Ain't I great at this survival thing?
I believe the children are our future. Teach them well and let them lead the way. Games people play, black, white, chalk lines on black asphalt. Regulate child's play in these concrete cages. But these boundaries needed to unleash cage imaginations. Imperfect geometric boxes and shapes creating the perfect world for inner city boys and girls. Because within this city, grass is not growth. Grass that can protect young needs from being scraped raw and leaving battle scars for life. But battles of the friendliest kind, with mid-court circles, are actually odd-shaped elliptical ovals that are tangent to the top of the three-point arc. But they're still seen as perfect through a child's eyes. Because you see, simplicity is the key, and they just simply want to have fun. And who are we to say there's something missing in their world? After all, it is their world, and you can't miss what you never had. But we cry for fish kept in tanks and animals locked in zoo cages because of their confinement. But if you never known freedom, can't truly recognize when you're being held captive. Chalk lines on black asphalt, turn barren roadways into multi-numbered obstacle courses with names like hopscotch and skelly. Children playing childish games without worry. The tools are the same, the rules are the same, and losing, just part of the game. Games passed down from generation to generation with everyone trying to lay claim to the same star played from yesteryear. The one who was forced into early retirement because the game became too demanding without ever understanding how the minors gave birth to the majors and how all the plays became endangered. Hey, yo, that's my red top, man. Nah, the one with the clay. You always cheat when we play Skelly. I'm saying, that's my red top. That's my red top, man. That's my red top. That's my red top, man. I said, that's my red top. That's my red top, man. Get them blue tops out of here. No blue tops on my block, only my red tops. Yo, where's my Glock? Cloud. Yeah, chalk lines on black asphalt. Still defining the games being played in these concrete cages, but today's chalk lines are no longer geometric boxes and shapes outlining called boundaries. They're now more flowing and graceful. Tag, you're it. That piece of real estate that you used to fight over that wasn't even yours because it didn't have your name on it, now belongs to you. Thanks to that life-size mirror now basking in the spotlight of prayer candles. Can't spare any drug money to buy a card, so a torn piece of cardboard would have to do. Cardboard splattered with spray paint that's used to replace today's basketball courts. As they outline the last shake and bake move executed by today's man-child, these new millennium chalk lines now marking their final resting place as they are now benched for all eternity.
Hey.
I woke up this morning in a stupor, beat down from the day prior. Gas prices are higher than the day before, but the wages are the same. And it seems like a shame, or more like a disgrace, the way this place called the world resembles a zoo than a habitation for humanity. And maybe it's because we lack character and have become less humane than the average beast. Whereas we feast on the vices of the weak and exploit the morale of the rich to become enriched with power and wealth rather than righteousness and generosity. And this rightness of being is far from being a factor today. And these politicians say that they're for the people, but their actions display that they're just about another dollar and another scheme to deceive the people, whether it's a dollar in a dream or that dream to turn that dollar into a divine being, something like a deity. In God we trust, the personification of money, power, and greed, that new age trinity. I woke up this morning, mourning the misfortunes of the have-nots and the lower class who reside in these slums and ghettos where the water is murky and the food is rancid, where the price for salvation is beyond the scope of the means, and the means to make ends meet is supplemented with doing something strange for a little change. anything to make those hunger pains subside. And if it wasn't for our pride, we'll get lower than earthworms do. Because this chicken stew ain't enough to go around. And the sound of stealing is more appealing than diplomas and degrees now. Look at the degree we're willing to go just to ensure our existence. I woke up this morning with the ideal of revolution. Because it's either we evolve this oppression or we resolve to take matters in our own hands. But we have to find a solution before tomorrow comes. And it's only a day away, like that little rich orphan girl said. But it seems like we're already late because it's a time to change now. But damn, it's well past noon. And that bill for reparations is way past due, like cable debts and car notes. And just like shots of Absolute and Kush smoke, we're fucked up, broken down and lost. And the cost to be found is beyond our budget. Plus, our accounts are depleted anyway. And on any given day, you can see us scouring these streets for schemes and dreams just to get by. And we're barely surviving, barely living in these fucked up conditions while homes are stricken with poverty, infested with rats and roaches and misgivings given to our youth by the way of radio, television, and live demonstration. And we're past frustrated, we're irate, and wide awake while this scalpel digs in our flesh while we hold our breath and just take it. And we're tired of waiting to exhale, tired of not being the only ones committing crimes, but the only ones occupying these cells. And it's time for us to stand up, man up, and get down for how we live. And if we don't wake up and change up, and there's no chance for our kids to have any decent chance to succeed. I mean, our communities are bleeding, and we're in desperate need of a surgeon to somewhat mend these fragmented pieces of our men and women back together again. And our babies are suffering from low self-esteem, hoop dreams, and the loss of an identity. Our image is dangling somewhere between Ralph Lauren, Dior, and Fendi, but it looks trendy, so we go with it. I woke up this morning with the intention to live out the dream of Martin, with the urgency of Malcolm, and you are all welcome to join me in this feat, to be upright, living our lives in the light of virtue over vice, being righteous despite of our shortcomings. So in the hopes we can be better if we wake up in the morning. Yeah.
All right.
Wow.
Today, I come before you, product of my past, outliving many of my failures and my elders. Let today be the testimony of persistence and faith. Let today prepare me for tomorrow, in hopes I will see you there. I've come so far, I've earned my way. Yes, I am free. I am finally just free. Let it rain.
Excellent. So my first question for you guys is, what impact did the presence or absence of your father have on your journey?
My father was present. My father was very present. My father taught me, gave me a good work ethic, primarily. My father was an activist. He worked in the church, he worked in the schools. He was one of the plaintiffs in the Brown versus Board of Education suit in Virginia.
Wow.
And he was very instrumental in my upbringing. He was there. You know, he passed when I was like about 24, 25. But you know, he was very, very much a part of my life. We had some conflict around the time I started graduating from high school and went into college and whatnot because of his religious upbringings and my free thought and my questioning and stuff like that. So we had some things that were never resolved. But as I got older, I could understand more what it was that he was trying to do based upon the limitations that were going on in his life at that particular time and place. So we kind of reconciled, not on a physical level, but he's still here with me, you understand what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So that's kind of what I was saying about it.
Okay.
My father was not present. He left when I was about a year and a half. But I think I took it upon myself to not use him as an excuse. Because a lot of people say I didn't grow up without a father, therefore I do negative things. And so by him not there, he actually played the biggest part of my life. Because you're quick to learn that it takes more than just being a man to do manly things. And so now that I am a father myself, I try to be everything he wasn't. And at the same time, I try to be everything he was.
Wow. They say that movies give insight to the way that a person views the world and themselves. So with that being said, what is your favorite movie and why?
Wow. Netflix.
Simple question, right?
Sankofa. I don't know if movies really impacted my life per se. Because I realized that a movie is a movie. I've always been in the arts since I was like 7, so I understood the difference between what happens on stage and what's not happening, what happens in front of the camera and what happens behind the camera.
Gotcha.
So I can't say that movies particularly, that's not what I want to say. I'm not saying that movies influenced my life in particular.
Got you.
Okay. One of my favorite movies was Sankofa because the slaves overcame and they struggled. You know, and once I became conscious of what was going on, unlike a lot of my peers, I came into the struggle in high school. So and I'm 66 years old.
Wow.
And I've been in the struggle since that time. And I've been through various phases. You know, I've been through civil rights. I've been through nationalism. I've been a Marxist-Leninist. I've gone through each various stages. So therefore, I understand the fuller picture.
Right.
I've talked to people who have been in the struggle. I've talked to elders like Dr. C.L.R. James. You know, people like that. I've sat down and talked with Dr. Ben, and people like that. So I've been fortunate enough to have elders that were in my life that influenced my thought process and my worldview.
Gotcha.
And I've been fortunate enough to have people to tell me what to read, and what to look at, how to look at various contradictions. So I think I've been very fortunate in that respect. So it wasn't necessarily a movie that.
No, understood. Understood. Same question, bro.
I'm a big movie watcher, but I wouldn't. If I say I wouldn't say one movie, but I'll tell you the types of movies that I particularly like, and that's stand-up comedy.
Okay.
Richard Pryor, you know, even some of the earliest ones for Cat Williams and so on and so forth, because they're able to laugh through the struggle. And as an artist, whether it's poetry or you know, or dance or anything that anyone ever does, I think it takes some sort of struggle to make it just right. And so to see stand-up comics release their struggle and make people laugh and make themselves laugh about it, I think me as a poet, some of these pieces I really had to dig inside myself in order to present it on the stage at a presentable level. And to hear somebody applaud or give you positive feedback on it, it tells you that your pain, your anger, and your struggle did not go to waste. And that you turned it, and that you're able to turn it around in a positive way. On top of that, I also feel that if people learn how to laugh more, it would actually make their soul a lot happier as well. Because everyone has struggle, everyone has their endeavors, but if you could just smile and look for a better tomorrow, somehow, some way, it would make a difference.
No, that's right. Ngoma.
You know, I like movies where the underdog wins.
Ain't that the truth, though?
Straight up, that's it. I like movies where the underdog wins.
I agree with that wholeheartedly.
I think comedy is okay if it's purposeful, but if it's just for the sake of making you laugh, you don't get nothing from it.
Got you.
You know, it doesn't really have a purpose.
Got you.
I like art that has a purpose, that raises your consciousness. You know, rather it be comedy, rather it be drama, whatever.
Right.
If it's not giving you something that you can grow from, something you can learn from, then you're wasting my time.
Got you.
And that's my approach to my art. I do art that raises social, political, and spiritual consciousness. And everything that I write everything that I perform, that's my goal, to give you some information that you can grow from.
No doubt.
I want you to be entertained because I know that's the way I can capture your attention.
Got you.
But it's not my primary goal to entertain you. I'm here for your inner attainment. So that's how I approach my art.
So another question for you is, how would you describe poetry?
How would I describe it? Poetry is only a continuation of the griot tradition, of the jelly tradition. Even hip-hop is only a continuance of our oral tradition. And if you're true to that tradition, then you understand that your art has to have some kind of purpose. If you don't, if you're just built to make some money, then you're not really touching people. You're kind of like wasting their time and yours too.
Feel you. I'm gonna ask you one more question, brother, and that is, if today was your last day, how would you like to be remembered?
I think I put in a considerable body of work in the years that I've been on the planet. And I think if people just remember me for what I've done, that'll be okay. Because I've been through a lot of different changes in my life. I've been through a lot of good things, and I've been through a lot of struggle and stuff too. And basically, all I want people to do is to be able to receive my work. And if my work has touched you in any kind of way, then I think that I've accomplished what I'm here to do.
Absolutely. I appreciate your time, brother. I gotta get you for the other half of the show, but okay. I appreciate your time.
All right.
Sorry to interrupt. I got two more questions for you. What is poetry?
That's like asking me quantum physics. I think poetry is different for everyone. Poetry is what you make it. Some people tap dance, that could be poetry. Some people sing, that could be poetry. For me, it could be an expression of spirit, expression of soul, an expression of your surroundings, an expression of your upbringing, an expression of your foundation, of where you're going, or where you want to be. For me, poetry started off as therapy, and then I came to the conclusion that it's bigger than that. So poetry is a gift, not only to me, but to others.
Let's continue to enjoy
so,
the energy.
At the end of the day, if somebody could get chills, or somebody could walk with me through the poem, if they could close their eyes and see yourself hand in hand with somebody, my words did enough. Because there's people in the physical that can't bring them to that level. And some people just need a little help, and sometimes words could be the catalyst for inspiration, and inspiration is God, because you're creative. Go hand in hand with motherhood. Anything that's creation has to be by the Creator.
Feel you. My last question, very last question for you is, if today is your last day, how would you like to be remembered?
As a realist, poetry's good and the arts is well, and I'm sure somebody will remember me for that. I'm just a normal person. I'm not a poetry dude. I'm a dude who does poetry.
Feel you.
So I'm a realist. At the end of the day, it's how I tell my friends. Don't get mad because I told you. I'm your friend. I'm supposed to tell you the real deal. Leave it up to everybody else to lie to you. And so I lived my life so far fully, and at the same time, I have found balance. It's a place to pray, it's a place to party, it's a place to do many things. Remember me as being diverse. I always wanted to be diverse because I don't want to be labeled as a poet. I don't want to be labeled in any category. It's bigger than that. It always has been. And so, with that, I would have to say, remember me as a visionary for others. Even if I can't achieve it, I always tell somebody that they can.
Appreciate your time, brother.
Thank you.
Peace.
My yesterdays has given me hope for today. I see you in the future. My last rites. I'ma do something y'all ain't never heard me do. It's Crow. What else would you expect, baby? In the blink of midnight. In the blink of midnight. Everything can change. In the blink of midnight. Just in that blink. In the blink of midnight. I woke up today. Mind on my money. I got bills to pay. I worked too damn hard for it to stay the same. Lord knows there gotta be a better way. Don't wanna bet my freedom, they'll take it away. So I say, fight for what's yours.